Welcome, everybody, to another session in our Women Lead online forums brought to you by Connected Women of Influence. I'm Patty Vargas. I'm your host today. And today we have a subject matter expert in the hot seat who is willing to say, yeah, go ahead, ask me anything. Now, our session today is going to last for about an hour. If you've joined with video, you'll be able to see our guests and our attendees alike. And questions and comments are always welcome. We want this to be a freewheeling conversation, so anything you want to ask, just feel free. If there is something you'd like to ask anonymously, though, just put it in the chat to me, and then I will share it for you. So our topic today is the do's and don'ts of professional headshots, and I'm so excited to introduce today's subject matter expert, Londi Maduro. So let me tell you a little bit about her. So I love this about her bio, that her love for photography was really inspired by her father. He was a photographer, and he used that to supplement his career as an art teacher. And she would look at these candid photos that he took of her mother, which I think the key thing here is that they were candid, and that he was able to freeze a moment in time with the camera that the naked eye just might have missed. And her love for photography just grew from there. And as a model, she started out as a model and was able to see how an artist could transform a regular person to a piece of art. So she pretty soon didn't want to be the art anymore. She wanted to create it. And even though she likes shooting still life, she really loves to shoot people with her camera, not, we're talking figuratively. And she likes to capture a feeling or a moment in a person's eyes and then display it for others to see. So if you look at a photo that she took or a film that she directed and it makes you feel sad or it makes you smile, then she feels like she's done her job well. So without any further ado, I'm handing it over to Londi. Welcome, Londi.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you here.
Thank you. Well, I love this topic because I feel like it's where a lot of people get lost. I'm gonna take off my bracelet so they don't keep but a lot of people, when I book clients for headshots, they really don't know where to start. They think, oh, I just need to pick a suit and then come to you and maybe you can help me figure out hair and makeup, or we can have a hair and makeup artist, but they're not really putting any effort into getting good headshots. And what I mean by that is, if you're getting business headshots, you need to be thinking about your brand. So what the outfit you're wearing, the color backdrop we choose, it should all be in line with how your website looks, what your branding is. So for instance, if your colors are, we just ran into this with a client, her colors were all like mauve, pink, and white and black, but she showed up with a blue dress and an orange dress and a yellow dress. And I was like, okay. So you want to make sure that first of all, that's going to clash with all the branding she has on her website and how she markets herself on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So you need to think about the outfits that you select for your business headshots, and do they go in line with your brand? The other question I get asked a lot is about hair and makeup. I do think you should have hair and makeup done if you're a female, and even if you're a guy. Men need male grooming too. But we don't want you overdone. Yeah. The purpose of the makeup is just to enhance, because again, like she mentioned in my bio, the camera catches things that the naked eye just doesn't see. So if I see you in person, I'm not noticing the lines under your eyes or the little scar on the side of your face. Like, we just don't pay attention to that. We're more enamored by your facial expression and your body movement. And so our minds aren't paying attention to those things. But as soon as it's frozen in a frame, we notice everything. Yeah. And usually you notice it way more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what is that? Right? Like, nobody told me I had that. One eye's bigger than the other. What the heck is going on?
Well, I think it's so important what you said about don't overdo it, because I remember about, oh gosh, I think 20 years ago, my husband and I were going to buy a house, and someone had recommended this realtor and gave us her her business card. It was beautiful, beautiful card. And you know how realtors usually have their pictures on their card.
Right.
And then when we met her face to face, it
Oh,
was like,
who are you?
oh,
Right.
yeah. It was one of those glamour shots.
Right. I was just gonna mention.
And it was like
Boa.
well, let's just say she looked about 30 years younger.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
how do you hide that when you meet somebody? Oh.
Right, in your eyes. And that's why it's so important to look like yourself. And in a sense, it is going to be a heightened version of yourself because the camera does take away about 65 to 70% of the makeup. Which is why you want a makeup artist. Here's another thing. You want a makeup artist who does do makeup for photography, because that type of makeup is totally different than if you're doing a live presentation or you're going out for the evening. You do need a heavier amount of makeup, but it needs to look more natural. So you want a makeup artist who understands that. I usually only work with makeup artists who do models or who do makeup for film and television, or excuse me, film and photography, because they do understand that the camera takes it away. It takes away a lot of it. But like you said, that even kind of goes into photoshopping. Like I always offer a little photoshopping with every headshot client that I shoot, but that still should be minimal. It's taking away those, things that to enhance just a little bit, but you still need to look like yourself when your client walks into your office or if you meet them, to show them a home. You don't want them to be like, like that is not.
Can I see your daughter?
Right. Like, I'm sorry, I was here to meet Mrs. Patty.
Right? Wow. Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
I did a headshot, gosh, it's probably been 6 years ago. And I remember because they were getting me, this was in our studio, and they were asking me to put on this deeper lipstick. And I was like, well, no, I don't know. It felt a bit too much for what I was comfortable for at the time.
Right.
But once they did the shot and I saw the finished, I was like, wow, that really did make a huge difference. And it didn't appear as bold as it looked before I put it on. So you're really correct there. And I've learned that lesson.
Yeah. And that happens a lot. It's funny because I'll hear my clients kind of argue with makeup artists. I don't wear colors that dark.
Yeah.
But again, the camera's taken a lot of that away.
I didn't realize it was that significant amount that the camera reduces.
Exactly. So in your prep, you definitely want to make sure you're thinking about your outfits. And I also always tell my clients, get a good night's rest. Do not go out partying or, hanging out with your girlfriends and have a ladies' night out and drink a whole lot of alcohol the night before your photo shoot.
Don't come in with your clothing and luggage.
Right, exactly.
I gotcha. Okay.
There's no all-night bingers, and then the next day you think you're going to take photos and you're going to look good.
Oh, no.
You got to drink a lot of water. I always tell my clients, get a good night's rest and drink a lot of water the day before your photo shoot session, because it just helps your skin look fresher. If you're dehydrated, it shows you are dehydrated, and alcohol dehydrates you. So take it easy the night before. Try to get some rest. Just so you look fresh in your photos.
Yeah. What kind of clothing would you say is maybe off limits? Like some things you ought to avoid in terms of what you wear?
Sure, that's an excellent question. So we usually tell people to stay away from busy patterns. They tend to be optical illusions in the camera. So sometimes even stripes, if the stripes are too close together, when we take your picture, it's very weird. It'll look like it's doing this. Yeah, it's just the way, and I don't know if it has to do with depth of field. Honestly, I don't know the technical reasons as to why that is. But teeny tiny prints or very busy patterns, sometimes checkers, those things, depending on the size of them, they don't necessarily photograph well. So you want to try to stay away from that. You also want to try to stay away from all black or all white. White and black are colors that the camera, especially white, the camera adjusts for white. We do something called white balance. So usually when someone's wearing white, we try to offset that with other colors, or if it's intentional for a more glamour thing, you know, you can wear all white or a family photo, but for your business headshots, you want to offset that white with another color. Also all black, you want to offset that because the camera's trying to balance your skin tone to all that black. So you want to try to give yourself a pop of color. If you're doing a black jacket, do a pop of color, but something solid.
Did you do like what kind of jewelry would be
Sure.
appropriate?
So for jewelry, now jewelry really goes back to your brand. So if you work, let's say, in insurance or something like that, you're not going to do this big glam piece. You know what I mean? You want to.
I really like them.
You want to stay true to your brand. However, like for instance, I did a hair and makeup artist. Her brand was big and bold, so she had pieces that almost look like they're part of her outfit. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So you want to just stay into whatever your brand. Now, if you do insurance and your brand is, I'm different, I'm flashy, I'm bold, then hey, that's
On
fine.
it.
Right. But you want to stay true to whatever it is. You can't have all these conservative pictures of your associates and then you're like
The team, yeah.
Right. You want to make sure that things are cohesive.
Got it.
Wow.
Exactly. Any other questions before I move on?
No, well, I'm sure more is going to come up. So,
Okay. So we talked about prepping for the night before, picking your outfits, really looking at your brand, your website, what you're going for, getting a good night's rest, considering your hair and makeup. Oh, let's go back to hair, especially for ladies. This is always an issue, especially for my ladies of color, which I am guilty of this. We change our hair a lot, right?
The struggle is real.
And sometimes we fail to forget that changing our hair drastically makes us chameleons. And so you have to pick a hairstyle for your photo shoot that is you're still going to look like you.
Yeah.
So if you, and I know I've done this too, like I know you have braids right now, Charles, that if you have braids down your back and then when you meet your client, you got this cute short hair, you're very confused.
Yeah.
So, because we're chameleons. We don't realize how drastically, I've done the same thing. I've gone to something and someone said, I know you from somewhere. Yes, I met you last week. My hair is So keep that in mind, you know, pick a semi-generic hairstyle. Even if you do change your hair up a lot, there's usually one or two styles you always go back to.
Yes.
And they're easy or they're low maintenance. So you see, this is mine. This is my low
maintenance. Just say it.
Right. So try to make sure your hair is like that for your photo shoot. That way it's something you can keep consistently. Or, you know, if you're able to, like some of us, like I know I like hair pieces and clipping.
Yeah, I was about to.
You know, do the first half of your photo with one hairstyle and then switch up to the other. Then you have variety. Something to pick from.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. And same for men, you know, men look totally different sometimes, clean shaven versus shaved. If you know, you kind of go between, you know, being clean shaven or having a mustache or a goatee, then you should try to take pictures with both. That way you have that option and you don't have to do another photo shoot within 3 months because now you've decided I'm over the whole beard thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So keep just planning. Most of this goes down to planning and really thinking about it, not just, oh, I haven't taken a picture in a while, let me take some new pictures.
Right.
You know, just like you thought about your marketing for your website, for your business cards, for how you want to be presented on all your marketing material, you should be thinking the same about your headshots.
You know, I just read today online that Justin Bieber shaved off his mustache, so I guess he's going to have to do everything again.
Yeah, I think people weren't buying him with that little on his lip. It was like, no.
He looked like a 12-year-old boy with a
right. Just, the struggle was real for him too. So, Yes. Yeah. Much better looking without it. Bless his heart.
Okay, so the other thing I want to say while thinking of prepping is now that you picked your outfit, you have an idea of how you want to look in your photos. I would definitely recommend that you go on like Pinterest and pick poses. And the reason why I say that is don't leave everything on your photographer to try to figure out what your style is. Now, a good photographer will tell you to do this. Like usually I'll talk to my clients. I'm like, okay, well go on Pinterest and send me a couple ideas of what you have in mind. The reason why we say that is some business headshots are strictly plain backdrop, just the person, because they intend to put some graphics. Some headshots is, well, I wanted to look more editorial style, where I'm sitting in my conference room, or I'm sitting in a chair, or, you know, nowadays you can run the gamut. So to give your photographer an idea, go on Pinterest and see what you like. See what interests you. See what kind of poses you like. Yes, they'll guide you through the posing process, but it just helps them understand where you're going or what you envision, because sometimes when you try to tell us, we're not speaking the same language. We speak photography language, and you speak layman's terms, and we're like, I don't know
what does that look like.
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's
Got
like you get your hair done and you're like, oh, I want it to be like fun yet bubbly, but then still professional. Okay. Okay, you got a picture of that?
Yes. Hairstylist and mind reader. Sure.
Exactly. So I highly recommend going on Pinterest.
That's a good idea.
And just getting some ideas, or just Googling, Google women's business headshots or men's business headshots, and they'll probably redirect you to Pinterest.
Right.
You'll get some good ideas for the style that works best for you and your brand.
You know, my favorite headshots that I've had, and I've had them done over the years, obviously, as we all have, but my two favorites are very organic. One was done when I was living in Napa, and it was outside. Everything we shot was outside, and I'm sitting on the edge of a fountain, and I'm just kind of leaning forward. It's just very casual, and yet not too casual. It doesn't look like my kid took the picture. It's a really, really nice picture. And I use that one a lot still. And because my hair is back to what it was then. And the other one is one that Stephanie Blue took, and it was outside after one of the Sioux talks. And I'm just leaning against a wall, and she just caught it just right. And so those have tended over the years to be my favorites, instead of the real formal, sitting there in my business suit kind of thing.
Right.
Exactly. And again, that goes back to what your brand is, or if you want to switch things up a bit. I personally like doing those kind of outside, but I am a bubbly person, so I tend to try to get people to be more bubbly. Whereas, maybe you need to be a little more conservative. I think it really just depends on what works for your business. But one thing you should not do is take a family photo and then only cut out everybody else, and then just because you liked how your hair was that day. That is not acceptable.
I swear those are some of my favorites when I'm going through LinkedIn, and it's like you can see somebody's shoulders right here.
No, I know you looked cute that day. Everything's fine. The earrings match the eyes, and the hair and the dress or the suit, but absolutely not.
That is hilarious.
That is so
cutting
great.
Yourself out.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a definite don't. What are some other don'ts that when you're going through LinkedIn, what makes you go, oh my gosh?
That's definitely one. The other would be kind of what we talked about. When I know who the person is and their photo on LinkedIn, they do not look like that. I want to say, girl, you know good well, you do not look like this. Or their photo, like how they're dressed or what they're wearing doesn't match their business. Like they're wearing their favorite Dodgers, outfit.
Yeah.
But, they're a lawyer. That's great, but this is LinkedIn. This is business. Like that's different. Save that for Facebook. This is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to really be true to your brand. I'm trying to think what else. Those are probably my biggest pet peeves, when people don't look like themselves. I think those are the main ones. Oh, I know the other one, which kind of goes into posing for your body type. You know, a lot of people I always call it like a picture day at school. As soon as they get the camera, it's like, relax, woosah. Like, rest your shoulders. And you can see that in the photo. It's just like their eyes get this big and like, relax. So I like to do some posing tricks or things to get them to relax, which usually makes people laugh, and then they start to relax. One thing, and this is especially for women, but I kind of do it with men too. When you're posing for your headshot, nobody looks good in a photo straight on like this. And the reason is, especially women, it makes us look broader, which is something we don't want. So you always want to be at an angle. Even if your head is straight, your body is kind of angled. And even if you're sitting, you would lean. It automatically gives you some, you know, a little.
It does. That whole.
Yeah. Versus going like this, it's just not as flattering. But if you lean a little bit, your body will automatically give you curves. Especially if you're a bigger woman, you don't have to worry so much about doing it. Because I know I tend to do this. I'm busty, so I'm always trying to hide.
Yes.
You don't have to do that because everything is accentuated and you're no longer kind of putting everything in the forefront. Wow. Even if you're standing, you would put one foot in front of the other, one foot at an angle behind you, and you would put all your weight on that back leg. It automatically just gives you some curvation, as I call it.
Curvation, yes.
So we all just automatically started turning.
Have to figure out what to do with the curvation. Thank you for that tip.
Yes, exactly. So, and even if you're taking pictures, you know, at a business event, you want to look good, they're going to post those on the website or wherever to promote the event. Automatically go into that pose. If you're standing here with some ladies, automatically do this, head down just a tad.
Okay.
Well, it gives you a whole different, and even if you're worried about, you know, some of us worry about the waddle, you know. So if you're worried about that, stick your neck out a little bit and then tilt down. Yeah. That way you're not doing this, you know, and I'm, you know, exaggerating. So you don't get that double chin. If you stick your head out and then down, it elongates your neck. Nice. And you have a whole different, you know, we put some sass on it.
That's great. Those are great tips. And then there's the, you know, when you're taking pictures in a group, like at an event or something, I love the football huddle. Everybody, you know, puts their arms around each other.
Yes. But if you are in that, because even doing that, even if you had your arm out, I would still do this.
Get the lean in.
Exactly.
Yeah, get the tilt.
Yourself curves, and then, you know, they'll be like, oh, you're so cute. I want to do this over. She's too cute in that picture. I want to be cute too. Always that. Or if you can't, if it's too many people and you can't do the tilt, then get that head down just a bit. And it's a subtle thing, because this is never attractive, which people tend to do, especially if you're laughing. When we laugh, we go,
we're going up. Yeah.
Yes. So I always teach, you know, people when I'm shooting them, my head went total difference.
Wow.
But it just gives you look good. The other thing I teach is what I call the fake laugh. If you are someone who, and this is part of my branding, if you go to my website, you'll see there's a picture of me laughing because I'm silly and I like to laugh and have fun. So it made sense for my branding that it's something of me laughing. But all of us humans, when we laugh, we tend to squint our eyes. It's a natural thing that we do. So I call it the fake laugh because it looks good in a photo, yet your eyes are open. And what
That's the problem I have. I'm raising my hand on that one.
So what I do is I hold my head down just a tad and I go, and then usually I start laughing for real. But
then the eyes closed. Okay.
But my eyes are open.
Okay. I'm gonna have to practice that one, Landy. I'll have to practice that one.
Really good info. It's like, wow, like it looks like a commercial photo. What does she do? Like, I want to be a part of that. Or what does he do? Because I make my guys do it too. Like, it gives this sense of connectability, which is really what people want when they're going to your business page and looking at photos of you or looking at video even of you. People want to feel connected to you. And so it just adds this warmth to your photos. And I can probably show you some examples. Tell me how I switch to share.
You just click the bottom there where it says share.
Oh, just click where it says to do it, honey. All right, so let's see here. All right, so here's an example, like this beautiful lady. She is a chiropractor, but she also has like her own YouTube talk show. So she wanted something, she didn't want the studio look, but she wanted to exude her fun, happy personality, and she's beautiful. I have not retouched this picture at all. She's just
gorgeous. Eyes. Wow.
Just beautiful. But we did a lot of that practice laughing. And because she is a bigger lady, you see I have her kind of angled, and she felt more comfortable. We were doing kind of this, and she naturally put her hand there. So you're no longer drawn to her chest or her arms. You're really drawn into her beautiful face and her body positioning.
Yes. That's beautiful.
Yes. She was a lot of fun. She's like, oh, I want to take more pictures. She doesn't. And even if you're sitting, for example, this one of Jessica.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Jessica works in insurance, but she wanted to get away from the more stuffier pictures of that she had was just her. So I brought in this chair. Again, she wanted to stay with studio. We shot it in her office. But notice even she's not sitting straight up. She's at an angle.
Yeah,
she's cheating her body to make you think she is. But really her weight is on that leg that's below the leg that's crossed.
Right.
So again, you're drawn into her eyes. You're not looking at her shoulders. You're just really drawn into her, and you're not even really paying attention to how she adjusted her body so that you'd be drawn into all those things.
Yeah. And it looks like you could just be sitting in a chair across from her.
Exactly. And it feels warm.
Yes.
This isn't your typical person who's the CEO of an insurance company. This is somebody who cares about the people that she insures, who wants to see you have optimum health. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds silly, but that's what the energy you get.
Yeah.
And that's what you want for your branding. This beautiful lady, she runs a nonprofit, and she wanted the outdoor look, right? So we shot her outside, and again, she's at an angle. Notice she's not standing straight on, and we did the fake laugh thing with her. So notice how her eyes are open. She looks happy. She looks inviting. She looks like someone who can help you. Her nonprofit, she's Haitian. So she runs a nonprofit helping all the people in Haiti after the horrific earthquake. And I mean, you want to know what she's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It draws you in. Same with, so here's, I want to do a gentleman. So you see, even with guys, you see how
that's nice. Yeah.
This picture of him, he's so funny because he does look like this, but he's not normally this groomed. But he is a very handsome guy. Okay. Everybody was like, who is that?
Who is that? And his email and telephone number is what? No.
He was so sweet. But he does look like this. We did do a little grooming with him.
Yeah.
My sister was the hair and makeup artist, and she just kind of trimmed his beard a little bit and put some gel in his hair, but we really didn't do much to him. He's handsome. But notice how he's not even sitting straight up.
Right.
He wanted to have more, and he was very specific. He had pictures of Justin Timberlake, and he was like, I want to look like this. I was like, okay. I mean, to the outfit, he brought in the same outfit Justin was wearing on his magazine.
But he was clear. That's a good thing.
Exactly. That level of clarity helped me so much understand what he was trying to achieve.
Yes.
And notice I've got him, he's actually got his foot propped on an apple, what we call an apple box, and he's leaned in like that. And I like that look for men because one, it gives them, his shoulders, it kind of gives this more masculine look. He's got one hand right here. It just kind of helps and gives a little more masculine look, where he's still not straight on and it's not boring. He's warm, he's inviting. And you're interested in, what does this man do?
Yes. Yes. Great.
Just to give you an idea. And then another gentleman, this guy wanted something a little more, he's a little more on the conservative side. Now notice he did wear a checkered shirt, but he was able to get away with it. To me, it plays with the camera a little bit, but he brought all checkered shirts, so I had to pick. Didn't I say stay away from busy print? It's like, this is all I own. So we made it work. But he wanted something that's a little more on the conservative end. I believe he works in construction, yet he still wanted to be warm and inviting. And so we kind of went with this look. Again, these two men, very specific to what they do. Actually, this gentleman is a book author, and this was the photo shoot for the back of his book.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then, whereas the other guy, like I said, he works in construction.
Yeah. Very appropriate.
Yes, making sure that we're specific. He didn't need to wear a suit and tie. It just didn't make sense for what he does for a living. But yeah, he's warm and inviting. It seems like if I had a house project or something I needed, I would trust him. I'd want to talk to him. I wouldn't think it's going to take a year to get it done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, whereas a construction guy, you know, wearing a suit, I would think, yeah, when's the last time you did a construction site?
Exactly. So just, and then also, I think I have one last person. I'll show you guys. This young lady, she also does real estate. So she wanted to do kind of something indoors and outdoors. So again, I don't have her facing straight on into the camera. You see, I kind of have her at an angle, and then she's very short. So I'm actually kind of standing above her, but it works because it opens up her eyes. You know, she's able to, exactly. And again, she looks warm and inviting, and you're interested, okay, what does this young lady do? And then she wanted one that was a little more conservative, so she has that as well. Again, I'm not as high up on her, but she's still kind of at an angle. Angles are just more flattering. Anything straight on, just flattering.
Very nice.
So just to give you guys an idea, get out of that now, of why we pose that way. It just makes things, you know, and two, also, if you're concerned about your arms, like me, I don't really like to be, I want to show this part. This is the easiest part of anyone's arm. I don't care how slender you are. You know? So you don't want to be too much like this, because this, anything in the forefront, right, like with depth of field, anything in the front will always appear larger in a case. So you want to be more angled like this. Now you're not looking at that meaty part of my arm, and you're more drawn into my face.
Right.
So just kind of.
There's a good tip. Anything that's close enough is going to be biggest, so you're not going to shoot me from behind.
Oh my God.
Wasn't sure that's where you were going, but.
But that's awesome you said that, because let's just say you are a person who's a little larger on the bottom and smaller on the top, then I would have you lean like this.
Lean
up. Again, it's going to make all of that look smaller.
Okay.
And it will feel weird in the picture. Like,
I was about to say, that leaning in is huge, actually.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, a great tip.
Yeah, because it just makes it'll make all that look smaller, and our eyes are no longer drawn to this part of you that you feel is unflattering. Not everybody, some guys like all that. So it's not unflattering to everybody, but
right.
Your business pictures, you're gonna look at your face.
So Londi, how often do you think somebody should do a professional headshot?
That's an excellent question. I think it depends on how often you change how you look. Some people, I even have this for my actors who have headshots. I have one gentleman, he hasn't taken new pictures in over 10 years, but he still looks the same. I swear he's a vampire. The man does not age. I was like, what is going on with you? I took that picture.
What are you taking? Yes, right. I want some.
Right after photography school. Why are you still using this photo? So I think it really depends on how often you're changing your branding, how often your look changes. If you're not really changing your branding that often, then you could probably keep your photo for a year or two. But if you're changing things up, if you're constantly innovating things, which a lot of people are doing now every 6 months to a year because trends are changing, then you want to change your photos when you're up leveling your brand.
Mm-hmm. Good. Charlesetta, what questions do you have? Or am I just reading your mind?
Well, no, I was actually, my phone dinged and I took a peek.
No, I wasn't outing you.
It's all good. It's all good. So I'm actually about to begin working on my LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
And so this is, I guess the challenge that I have is that I do have so many sort of different hats. So what is the best way to prepare? Well, I guess it's really changing, having the different outfits. Like if I did a photo shoot with you for a headshot, I would need like 2 or 3 really different headshots to come out of it, not just one.
Right.
Because, I have my Cal State Fullerton,
Right.
then I have my other life.
Right.
So I think I know the answer to this. It's going to really be in the preparation for that. But that would, I think, for me, that would be the most challenging thing, is like how to actually prepare so that when I left that shoot, I had not 1 really good shot, but 3 like very different headshots that are going to be used for different purposes.
Right.
Those have to be sort of individual sessions.
That's an excellent question. And that does depend on the photographer.
Okay.
Some photographers charge you by what we call looks, which is outfit changes.
Uh-huh.
I tend to do like a package.
Okay.
So within the package, we can do whatever you want within the looks in those package.
Okay.
So I would definitely, that's the conversation you need to have with the photographer so they're aware and they can plan for that. And then I would plan that out with you because, for instance, for one of your businesses, you may need that more conservative look, but for the other business, you need the more fun, bubbly, and then the other one, you need something that's in the middle.
In the middle,
so we kind of need to plan that out because we may want to do some inside and some outside.
I see.
Okay. Or some with a more conservative backdrop or some with a more festive backdrop.
Right.
It just depends. So that's definitely a conversation that you have to have with the photographer in the consultation, that initial talk about the shoot. And then I always tell people, bring more outfits than you need. And the reason I say that, for me anyways, I can only speak for myself. I know how to help you piece your outfits together. And sometimes what looks good in person doesn't look good on the camera or vice versa. So it's nice to have options so we can say, let's put that scarf with this jacket and these pants, and we can tie them together. You'd be like, I would never wear that in public. But then, like you said with the makeup, then you see the photo, like, oh my God, that really works.
It really works, yeah.
So bring more. I always say bring more outfits, and this is look 1, look 2, look 3, look 4, and that way you can plan out for that shoot.
Okay.
You definitely have to tell them before.
Okay.
And again, when you're kind of doing your prep and you're looking on Pinterest, keep that in mind. Look for pictures for each. So that way you can tell them, okay, these photos over here are more in line with this part of what I do. And these photos over here are more in line with this part of what I do. And it will really help your photographer. The more you communicate with your photographer what you're envisioning, the better they can help serve you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great. Just listening to you talk, it really helps you understand how much art is really involved in this. That this is an artistic endeavor, and you're the professional. And it would behoove us to listen to you. Like Charlesetta said, hey, wearing the darker lipstick, or I remember it was probably 20 years ago. I think it was the first time I ever really had professional shots done, and the woman was she was an artist. I mean, she was a musician, she was a painter, she was very, very well rounded, and photography was one of her things. But I brought in a couple blazers and some tops and different things, and she put together an aqua, kind of a turquoisey blazer over a purple shell. I would have never ever worn that, ever. and it was brilliant. It
Amazing.
was brilliant. It was
Yeah.
so perfect. And she did a series of shots of me in her garage. So I'm in her garage, and the light is coming in filtered from the windows at the top of the door,
Mhm.
which I'm thinking, this is really bizarre. And behind me was a big industrial sized orange painted lathe. And I'm like, she's crazy. Really. And she said, just trust me. And when I got the proofs, it was like the filtered light, and then that was all, you'll know the word for this, I don't know what it is, but it was like all smudged in the background, so it just looked like,
Out of focus.
yeah, it was shades of orange and stuff back there, and with a turquoise jacket and a purple t-shirt, and it was like, wow. I would have literally showed up in black and a white t-shirt. I'm not the most creative person in the world.
But it
Wow.
makes a difference. You're absolutely right, because all those things are doing is enhancing the color because she has it out of focus.
Yeah.
So that I love, that's what I love about shooting outside or shooting in a covered space. I actually, when I shoot from home, I shoot out of my garage a lot too, because you get that nice soft filtered light. And in all honesty, I love shooting natural light better.
Yeah.
Natural light is so complementary to all skin tones.
Mhm.
It just has a way of softening our skin.
Mhm.
Whereas, you know, controlled light, like flashes and strobes, is a little harsher. We have to do a lot to diffuse that light. If you ever notice when you're doing a studio session, they either have an umbrella, which is really bouncing the light into the umbrella and bouncing it back at you because it's too harsh to bounce directly on you. Or they have a big octagon thing and a piece of white fabric, called a scrim or a diffuser or a softbox, that is diffusing that light before it hits your skin, trying to mimic what the sun would naturally do if you were in a covered environment. There's nothing like natural sunlight.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. But even when I shoot in natural light, like for instance, I'll share with you guys really quick again. Like when I shot this young lady. Like when I shot this young lady, where did I go? I clicked on, I'm in it. I'm good with photos. Don't ask me about the technical. But when I shot her, we were outside, but I'm diffusing the harsh light because it was 12 o'clock when the sun is at its
nice.
right. So that it wouldn't be giving her raccoon eyes. I have a giant piece of white material, which we call a scrim, over her head. And it just made all that light.
All the light. Okay.
You know, I didn't have to do much lighting wise to her because that light, but that's just natural sunlight. You know, same with, like, for instance, this is actually my sister, but this is her. She's a hair and makeup stylist. This is for her website. This is actually in my garage.
Oh,
that
wow.
natural light just is awesome. And of course I put a red backdrop up because that's her color, and we left all this space over here so that she can put
her
information about her website, or actually I think she uses as a promo photo to talk about something fun she has coming up at her salon. I also, I'm glad I found this picture because it reminded me to tell you guys, when you're speaking to your photographer and we're saying headshots, we as photographers, a headshot is like, you know, right underneath the chest up to here, or even tighter. That is a headshot.
Right.
So if you say headshot, those who do this professionally, like
that's what they're
headshots, that's what we think.
Got it.
So you want to be clear, like this is not 100% a headshot.
Yeah.
If you want space like this, like, you know, I'm going to put these on my business card, so I don't just want a typical headshot. Like this is a headshot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so the one in the pink dress as well, that's not a headshot then. No. Got it. Okay. No. So you have to be clear.
You have to be clear. This is not a headshot. This is a great business shot. She can use this for her marketing material. She, you know, I think she speaks a lot for her speaking photos. And I don't know if I put them in here. I don't want to make you guys go through all her photos. But her speaking photo is different because she needed an actual headshot versus this one we use for her marketing material.
That's great.
You know, same with this lady. This lady who actually was running for governor of California, which didn't pan out. But she needed actual head, right? She needed an actual headshot.
Got it.
But it needed to be her style, her personality, but still somewhat conservative.
Right.
And again, she's in my garage too. We just did that in the garage. So there is a difference between headshot and more full body shots, and not necessarily 100% full body. You see, I don't see her feet.
Yeah.
Jessica's feet. Matter of fact, I think she has on tennis shoes. But there's a difference. So be sure to articulate to your photographer, you know what, I want to get some headshots. I want to get some mid shots. I want, like this young lady, I want some space that I can have something fun, or I'm looking up at the words for my business, which is what she wanted. She wanted to be able to, like, why should I come to me? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Question bubble. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So fun for her marketing. So keep all that stuff in mind. I usually suggested, let's do some where you're kind of over to the side. So usually it's like, oh yeah. But no, not all photographers, you know, especially if you're not brand photographers or one who think like business.
Everything's kind of going to be centered and
Right. That's great. Can you, the one you've got down there that has the two people in it? Because I know sometimes there's partners in business, you know, like how did you come up with that?
So we were actually just being silly, and they wanted to take some shots together, and we joked about, let's do something like old school, like, you know, back in the day when we would go back to back.
Yeah.
Because again, that's Jessica again. So they do insurance. But you see, because we wanted fun, I had them both do what I call the fake laugh.
Fake laugh.
So they're both doing, and you know, it always makes me laugh when other people do it. They're so uncomfortable. But notice both their eyes are open.
I love the fact that it just keeps those eyes open.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
And they look fun. They look like, okay, you know.
Approachable.
Yeah. This is a fun business team. Yeah. What is it that they do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So crime fighters on TV. That's
right. And it made it fun for whatever, you know, marketing stuff they want to do for their business. It's like a fun thing. Come to us. We've got your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cute. Something like that.
Good job.
Yeah.
Really good. Well, gosh, in our remaining time here, what are some other maybe some don'ts that you would, you know, warn us about ahead of time, and then maybe some of your favorite do's?
Sure. I would say don't depend on your photographer to have all your posing or ideas for you.
Yeah.
It is a collaborative effort because you know exactly what you need for your business and what you've been striving to do in your business. So make sure you're communicating those things to them. Yes, a photographer can help you pose, but again, not all photographers are good with that.
Yeah.
So make sure you have some ideas in your head and that it becomes a collaborative effort to make sure we're getting what you need, because this is what you need for your business. You're spending your money.
Right.
You're doing this in hopes that you don't have to do it again in 2 weeks.
Right.
So make sure you're putting some thought into what you need for your business to enhance your business.
Nice.
Also, I would say you should, and this isn't really in prep, but you need to have a photo of yourself on your website in some form or fashion. Nowadays, people want to feel, which is why I kind of push my clients to have more fun or more approachable looking photos. You know, guys tend to not want to smile in their pictures.
Yeah.
You cannot look like the Grim Reaper in your photo. I know you think it looks more macho to stand there, and, you know, but you look scary. It's like, I'm not going to. And so you want to look approachable. Okay, you don't maybe want to do a full teeth smile. Then give a little bit of a smirk. You know, I always tease the guy. I usually can get him to smile because I'll say, imagine there's that sexy someone across the room and they're like, hey, boy. It's like, oh my God, I love you. Or I got to smile. That's what, or I got to smirk, or I got,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and that's another good tip too. When you're posing, if you're feeling uncomfortable and stiff and you can't get out of your head or out of your body, and the photographer hasn't provided like music or something to help you relax, create scenarios for yourself.
Mhm.
So if you want to come off, you know, more kind of like I just said, more sultry, I guess, but still sophisticated. Imagine there's someone across the room that you would like to get to know,
Mhm.
and, you know, take a moment. And usually I have them like put their head down and imagine for a second this scenario, and then look up and see that person. And it
Mm.
just changes your whole demeanor, and it helps. And some people, it takes a while because you're so in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody's looking at me though. But just, you know, take a moment. I usually have them take a couple deep breaths, just look down and just think about that for a moment and look up.
And then look up.
Even though it may not be, you know, that look of sultriness, it's changed something in your face. You're out of your head, and you're now thinking about something else, and you're able to help relax.
Mm.
That's great. That's awesome. That's really good. And I like what you said about maybe music or, you know, something that kind of creates an atmosphere or a feeling around you.
Yes, I always like to have music. It should be
Music going, yeah.
This is a photo shoot. Have fun. This is a part of what you have to do for work that should be fun. It shouldn't feel like a task or a chore.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you feel like, you know, I always have people who tell me I'm not photogenic, and then when they see their pictures, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do I really need, because I always, you know, I do packages where you can have a few photoshopped. And like the lady in the purple dress, do I need Photoshop? I was like, no, not really. I think you look awesome.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, I get it. It's like uncomfortable. It's a camera in your face.
Mhm.
But the job is to help you forget about the camera, and so that we can really see your authentic self.
That's great. Well, Londi, this has been fabulous. I've had a blast talking to you.
Yeah.
You're very, you're very good at what you do, clearly. So
Thank you.
how do people reach you? What's the best way for people to reach you?
Sure. So you can always reach me through my website, bluechildentertainment.com. Our contact information is on there, phone, email. You can look through some of our photography and video, because we do both photography and video. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear, you know, I always say, I think we have on there in our contact page, tell us about what you're up to. Tell us about your projects.
Yeah.
We'd love to be of service in any way that we can.
Great.
Awesome.
And what is the origin of Blue Child Entertainment?
Had to get
We
that
only
in
go
there.
do kids' parties. I get asked that all the time. So Blue Child is what is a creative spirit. It's what we call the indigo child. It's about being free and creative. It's kind of why, you know, dragonfly is our symbol, and that's because I'm kind of a busy everywhere person, but I'm also a very creative person, and I enjoy helping others find those things within themselves that they feel, you know, maybe uncomfortable about, or they're afraid to share, and kind of putting it in a photo so that they can see, hey, we see you and you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Share with everybody.
I love that. I love that. I've looked at your title a few times and thought, there's got to be a story behind that. That's cool. That's beautiful. It goes right along with it. So
Thank you. Thank you.
well, thank you so much for being our guest today. And I know that folks are going to want to reach out to you. So you can find Londi at bluechildentertainment.com, right? Okay. And any of your professional, fun photos and video, you need to reach out to her, because clearly she's a rock star. So thank you again for being my guest. Thank you for everybody that's listening in on this. And just stay tuned, because we have these coming up with a lot of regularity, and there's always something for us to learn, some other way for us to grow both personally and professionally. So look for the next one that's presented by Connected Women of Influence. Until the next time, see you all. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.